All new Dr. Phil today. A prominent dentist.
Don't touch the camera. You're assaulting him.
Caught in a street fight.
We're blocking the driveway, so I got into this car moving forward.
You don't ever want to open my car door and drag me out of it. You said you did not push her down.
I was attacked.
Are you kidding me? Let's watch the whole thing.
That's wrong to do? Oh, come on.
I don't believe that story's gonna fly. Coming up. Let's do it. I want you to get excited about your life.
Here we go, in 10.
Stand by camera 6.
If it's happening now, we're gonna deal with it now.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
This is gonna be a changing day in your life.
Stand by A and roll A. Check it.
Go, Dr. Phil.
Thank you very much. Okay, you've all heard that phrase, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Well, today my guests say they were forced to take matters into their own hands, all in the name of justice. Now, my first guest, Dr. William Moody, says his constitutional rights were violated when he was physically and verbally attacked while arguing with a man about moving his car. But the dentist wasn't on his best behavior either. A local TV crew was nearby and caught some of this on tape. Take a look.
I pulled up. I saw that our driveway was blocked. This is the driveway, which was blocked at the time. The driver of the vehicle blocking the driveway did not respond. And I noticed that the car in front of that automobile was moving out. So I said, here's a great time to leave my car and ask the driver to move forward. He expressed that he was not about to do anything but harm me. He had no good intention. He didn't want to talk. He wanted to get physical. While I was speaking, he cursed at me and he used the N-word and he spit at me. There was so much sputum, I thought I was in a shower. At the time, I was really taken aback. I was in shock. So I got into this car moving forward, and he hit me right on my right side of my head. When he hit me, I got out of his car. He would have hit me once. Once is enough. Jeepers.
In the driveway.
And as I turned to remove my jacket, that's when I noticed the cameraman. So I turned and continued in that direction to block the view. As I was embarrassed, I didn't know how to respond.
Don't touch him, sir. Don't touch the camera. Do not touch the camera. You're assaulting him. Officer, some help. He's assaulting my photographer.
Well, when the camera folks, the camera crew, said to me, leave the camera alone. Okay, fine. It's your camera.
You're assaulting him.
Then Yolanda appeared and just sprung at me like a leopard. She came racing at me. I mean, she was intent on doing bodily harm. She had bad intention at that time, and she showed it. And that's when I put my hand up to block her. She went down, as she ran into my hand, and I'm going up like this. She tripped over herself, she fell. And all of a sudden, I felt another blow to the side of my jaw. Somebody grabs me from behind. After that, I'm in handcuffs. I was put in some kind of a neck hold and cuffed and taken away by the police. After I was attacked, physically and verbally, I felt like my constitutional rights were just stripped and buried at that time. I felt like I'm in a foreign country. I felt like I was not in the United States of America.
Well, wow. That's a pretty busy, intense situation.
Certainly.
Why were you so upset?
Well,
Because you say that they were offensive to you with their words and deeds, but you were the one that got out of your car.
I got out of my car to point out to him, now you can move. You see the car is moving. And I turned towards him to explain that to him again. At that time, things went awry. I was attacked. That film did not show everything.
Okay,
That film did not show that the fervor, that the intent, the bad intention that she had. The film did not show, the films did not show that she was held back by two men on that third incident.
Listen, I have no interest whatsoever in stacking this deck with editing or whatever. So I do have the raw footage, all of it. I have all the raw footage from this camera, so let's just take a look at the whole thing. So everything's there, and then we'll talk about it.
Certainly.
In the driveway!
Don't touch him, sir. Don't touch the camera. Do not touch the camera. You're assaulting him. Officer, some help. He's assaulting my photographer.
What are you doing? You can't come up here and hit me. She's my sister. Why are you pushing on me? Back up. Crazy. Back up. Idiot. Why are you going to push me? Let me see it. Put your hands back. My car's right here.
Okay, that's all the footage there is.
Yes.
That's everything that's there. You're the doctor's attorney.
Yes, I am.
What do you say about this?
Well, first I want to clarify, there was no one that was injured. The footage showed that my client was attacked first. It's indefensible that she would come and push him. You saw that on the film. He responded after being attacked. Had that not been on tape, we don't believe that there would be a current pending charge of an assault 3 misdemeanor, punishable by a year in jail, when there was no physical injury.
But you got out of your car.
Is something wrong with getting out of my car?
Yes,
It's
it's a parking spot. Make the block and come back. I mean, you could have been killed. I was worried about you getting hurt.
Okay.
Seriously.
Dr. Phil, let us clarify that.
I mean, listen, let me finish what I'm saying, though. My concern is there is a problem with you getting out of the car. You could have been hurt. You've worked hard all your life. You're a dentist. Your hands are important to you. You get your hand slammed in a car door. You get hit in the head or something. Have you told him in private you don't need to be getting out of your car?
Well, yes, and I think if you proceed further with the line of questioning you're on, you'll see that the doctor certainly has some regrets.
Okay, and I didn't mean to cut you off. We have to take a break, and I'm going to let you say what you started to say when I cut you off. Okay, so we'll be right back, and we're going to talk about whether his constitutional rights were violated, why this situation took place, and what we all need to kind of tear a page out of the book on. We'll be right back.
Countless thousands have watched Dr. Moody push Infante's brother and climb into the brother's car. Moody also got physical with CBS 2 photographer Chris Calarco and had a confrontation with Yolanda Infante. The CBS 2 exclusive video has become an internet sensation.
Well, that was Dr. William Moody, who says he was defending himself when he was attacked after asking a man to move his car. Tell me what you wanted to say right before the break.
That was not an argument over a parking space, number one. They were blocking the driveway so that I couldn't get in to get to work. Okay? Number two, when I was pushed several times by Yolanda, after she attacked me, after her brother attacked me, okay, the things that went through my mind, and she said, was I afraid of being hurt? Yes, I was certainly afraid of getting hurt. I was afraid that as that woman was trying to push me into the street, which is an active, very active street with buses and cars and truck racing, just a few feet from there to get through that red light. People have been killed at that intersection over and over again. My only concern was the future of my children, because like you said, wasn't I afraid of being hurt? Yes, I was.
But isn't it true that you could have waited a few minutes? Isn't it true that obviously there were police officers around, isn't it true that you could have flagged one down and said, this guy's illegally parked, I can't get to work, move him? Isn't it true that there were a number of alternatives besides jumping out of your car and going up and jerking a guy out of his car and getting in it and moving it yourself?
I wanted to get to work. I had a job to do, and it was not over a parking space. I wanted them to move forward so I could get to work and continue to make a living for my 3 children. They are my heart and joy.
Well, listen, I spent 15 years working as a litigation consultant, and I don't believe that story's gonna fly.
Did my client have a right to defend himself when that lady ran up and put her hands on him?
Well, let's take a look at that.
If he didn't have a right, then he's guilty.
Okay.
If he did have a right, then that story will fly.
Well, let's take a look at how that happened. Dr. Moody told us that Lewis punched me on the right side of my head. So let's see that clip. This is you walking up the car, so no punches thrown yet. Okay.
Boom. Boom.
Okay, those were the two punches?
Those were 2 punches right there.
Uh-huh.
Those were 2 punches. I mean, somebody punched you twice, what would you do, sir?
They'd be punching me through the window of my car because I wouldn't get out. But I'm from Texas. Yeah. You're saying there were 2 punches and to the right side of your head. That was to the left side of your head.
Okay, left side of my head.
Okay, well, that's what I mean. I want to help you work this out. You also said that she fell down from her own energy against your right hand.
You can look, if you look at that, you can see how much further she pushed me out in the street the second time. Now, okay?
Okay, let's look at it. We'll see. She clearly pushes you.
Now, that's what I'm saying. That was an assault in any textbook, in any law school, in any court. She put her hands on my client first. Now, the question is, does he have a right to ward off another attack, to expect that another attack may be imminent? Does he have a right to push her away?
Okay. I'm not a lawyer, but I think you're right that she put her hands on him, and that's not right. You said you did not push her down, but let's watch the whole thing and see if she bounces off your right hand. She's pushed you back once. That's your right hand. There's your left hand. Okay. Now, at that point, you clearly pushed her to the ground.
Did he overreact? Did he go over and above the right to defend himself? Okay, that's the question. But if she attacked him first, we have to spend more time on that issue. That's been dismissed from the entire discussion, that she attacked him.
It hasn't been dismissed from the entire discussion because you've brought it up every single time, and I don't blame you for that. She clearly puts her hands on him, but you have to look at this, and just let me ask you a series of questions and just see where it leads us. Look, you seem like a nice guy to me. I'm not trying to demonize or vilify you. I think you're crazy for getting out of your car because you could get hurt. That's a bad idea, and that's a bad idea. Do not get out of your car. This was a traffic situation, and your client started the ball rolling by getting out of his car, did he not?
Yes, he did.
Okay, but
was he wrong to do that?
But for him getting out of the car and having a confrontation with the other driver, would this have happened?
Let me ask you a question, Dr. Phil. Anybody in the audience can answer it too. If someone is blocking your driveway at your home, would you get out of your car and say, excuse me, buddy, move your car? That's wrong to do? Oh, come on.
Let me tell you, I'm as peaceful a guy as you ever want to meet, but you don't ever want to open my car door and drag me out of it.
Now, that's a different matter. That's a different matter. Let's discuss that, but the first point...
But listen, no,
that's
seriously,
a different matter.
I think anybody here would say, you open the door, grab a hold of me, it's going to be Molly get the mop, because you're not going to drag me out of the car.
That's a different matter. Well, Dr. Phil, was it reasonable for him to get out of his car and ask someone to move their vehicle from his driveway?
Yes.
If that was reasonable, good. We got something that we can work with. Now, the next issue you brought up was, should you get in someone's car? And I give you a resounding no. I wouldn't have gotten in someone's car.
All right, so we agree with those 2 points. All right, now Dr. Moody says, I was put in some type of neck hold, cuffed, and taken away by the police. Take a look at this. I'm looking for the neck hold. Okay, I just don't think you want to say that, because I think in looking at it technically, clearly we're restrained. It's not material.
Well, you know,
it's
Dr.
not
Phil,
material. You just don't want to say that.
Dr. Phil, let me say this. This incident took place in all of less than a minute. Less than a minute. For me to recall every single detail after being spit upon, being beat up, hit with a cell phone, ended up with almost a broken jaw. Dr. Phil, I could not remember every incident. Maybe, you know, that's the truth of it. And maybe he was just so close to me in my face, it just felt that way.
For that incident, which I admit, the young lady who fell down, it didn't look good. Him getting in the car did not look good. The fact is, my client was assaulted first by the gentleman who you saw punch into the car. Then she came up and shoved him and pushed him, and he defended himself.
Okay, we got to take a break, but let me just close by saying, close this argument by saying this. I didn't see him get punched in the car, and I do think you have a right to get out, tap on the window, and say, excuse me, you're blocking the driveway, could you scoot up a little bit? But jerking somebody out of their car and getting in to move it themselves kind of negates that right that you claim to go up and ask. And I got to take a break, and then I'm going to come back. We're going to hear from the woman in the video who was pushed to the curb. Her side of the story when we come back, and a couple of other questions.
Dr. Moody raised his right hand as to strike me and call me. He used all his power and I hit the concrete. Dr. Moody was out of control.
Talking to Dr. William Moody and his very able counsel, who says his constitutional rights were violated when he was attacked while arguing with a man about moving his car. Now, Yolanda was the man's sister who fell to the ground. And she says that Dr. Moody is the one that attacked her. Let's listen.
My brother Luis was waiting for me downstairs because finding a parking spot is very rough in that section. I heard a lot of noise, bad words being spoken. So I looked through the window when I saw Dr. Moody attacking my brother Luis. Dr. Moody was pushing my brother aside. He got into my brother's car to try to move the car. Meanwhile, my brother was telling him, I'm gonna move it, I'm gonna move it.
Then move it.
As soon as Dr. Moody get off the car, my brother moved his automobile and gave Dr. Moody enough space to go into the driveway. I spoke to my brother. He never spit on Dr. Moody's face and never called him any bad words. Dr. Moody was out of control. He was so aggressive. He attacked the photographer.
Don't touch the camera. Do not touch the camera.
So at the time that I approached him, he worked towards me very aggressively, and he didn't listen at all of whatever I was telling him. I got the chance to say, Dr. Moody, my father just passed away. Please give us a chance. We're living right now. He's my brother. And he raised his right hand as to strike me and call me. So at that time, I tried to protect myself, and I believe I did something like this to put him apart from me. As soon as I did this, immediately he used all his power and threw me into the floor. And I hit the concrete. He pushed me down. I'm really afraid about Dr. Moody's patient's safety. If he was able to do that in front of the cameras, in front of the county police building. How is he going to react with someone that is in his office as a patient of his? If you see the video, he can explode very easily. So my major concern at this moment are his patients. And I want the system to stop him.
Now, Yolanda declined our offer to appear on the show with Dr. Moody. They work in the same building, but she now has a protective order against him. Now, he's charged with a misdemeanor and aggravated harassment. He's here with his attorney, Gary Jenkins. Now, I'm trying to be as fair in all this as I can, and at the break you said that you thought it was wrong for me to characterize you as jerking him out of his car.
One of the things, Dr. Phil, is that the film did not show, okay? When I sat in my car for 5 or 6 minutes, beeping and beeping and beeping, I did do that. The film did not show that when I approached him initially to explain to him that the car was, and I was down on one knee, just about, and I explained to him that he could move his car forward and turn toward him. That's when he spit on me, called me the N-word and a.
And what?
It's a Hispanic word. It means a bad word. And he called me those two things, and then he spit at me. The camera did not capture that, I guess, because of the angulation or when they started the camera rolling or whatever. But I did sit in that car and beep that horn for 5 minutes to get a response.
Were you having a bad day? No, seriously, were you? We all have bad days.
Every day I get up in the morning is a good day.
Well, because on that same day, we've talked to a woman by the name of
Dr. Phil, if I may, we have a current matter before the court, and any allegations that we may address on this show would have a negative impact on our pending case. So my client cannot confirm, admit, or deny any allegation of any other activities.
Okay, well, I won't ask you to. But the report is that there was a prior incident that day, and you can say no comment, but there was a prior incident that day where you followed a woman into a parking garage and blew your horn for 6 flights, and you started yelling at her when she got out, and then secondly, that you had rear-ended another car that day. Do you think you might ought to plead this thing out?
We want to plea it out, but the DA is not giving me an offer that I can take. They're moving forward with trial on a misdemeanor charge, which holds a year in abeyance for my client should he be found guilty when there was no serious injury.
But the truth is, I think you made a series of bad decisions in this incident and perhaps throughout that day. But what I also know from doing my homework, that you have a long history of being a well-respected professional, a contributor to society. I mean, just you couldn't say nicer things about a guy than Dr. Moody. But you know, in life, you got to pick your battles. This ain't one.
We don't want to be one. We agree.
Yolanda says that she might file a civil suit as well, so you may have that to...
Well, where's the damages? She didn't go to the hospital. She wasn't hurt. She may be a bit embarrassed, but in law, you have to have damages to recover in a civil suit.
Okay.
That's all our point is.
All right, that's all, right?
That's it.
Okay, because I wanted you to have a chance to say everything you wanted to say.
I did.
But you, Doctor, I don't hear any mea culpa in your voice about this at all, and I think that is a really dangerous tact. I think it's a really dangerous tact to not say, if I had to do this over again, I wouldn't have done that. And I tell you, there's just a lot of people. My daddy raised me from the time I was in the sandbox that you don't put your hands on a woman in anger. And he reiterated that to me the day after Linda Snyder beat the crap out of me, which was in the 6th grade, and I was a pretty good-sized old boy then. But I just, I hope that that you recognize you got to own some of the bad decisions here and try to de-escalate this controversy.
In response to all of that, Dr. Phil, for you to say that I have no regrets, I have no onus in this incident, I do. If I had to do all over again, I would have sat there for 3 hours and not gone to work. You don't know what to do. And the excitement occurs, and it probably have been the worst moment that I could have had ever.
Caught on tape.
Caught on tape.
We are out of time. Wait till you see how a 75-year-old woman sought justice against her cable company when we come back.
You just get tired of being a doormat. These Comcast people are submoronic idiots. So I went downstairs, got the hammer, and said to my husband, "Come on, honey, we're going for a ride."
We're talking about vigilante justice, when people are pushed to the edge and feel forced to take matters into their own hands. We've all felt like that, right? We just want to get up on our hind legs and just go get it straight. Well, my next guest, Mona, made national news when she walked into her local cable office. With a hammer. To get their attention.
I think I'm just an average person who was pushed too far. In Bristow, we don't have a choice of cable providers. It has to be Comcast. We wanted to save some money, so we asked for the triple play. Cable, telephone, internet. That's when everything went south. We waited the entire day for Comcast. They never came, they never called. We called and they swore up and down they'd have a man out. He showed up and gave us a lot of gobbledygook about giving us a new telephone number. So after putting a box on our line, we discovered we didn't have a phone. These people are playing God. If I have a heart attack, if my husband falls, we cannot call 911. I said to my husband, let's go on down to Comcast. Maybe we can find a manager. We were asked to wait for 2 hours. Then one of the girls said, oh, I'm sorry, he's left for the day. These Comcast people are submoronic idiots. So I went downstairs, got the hammer, and said to my husband, come on, honey, we're going for a ride.
For a while, I didn't realize what she was going to do when we got there.
I walked past a whole line of people, leaned over the counter, and started whacking their telephone and their computer keyboard. I said, have I got your attention now? When the police officer raced in, he yelled at me, put down that hammer. So I whacked the telephone one more time. I knew I was wrong, but at age 75, they weren't about to hang me. Somebody had to do something to wake them up. You just get tired of being a doormat.
Well, Mona said, if I'm not going to have a phone, then you're not going to have a phone. So, what was your thought process? I mean...
I had to get their attention. That was the only thing. We lived far enough out that if the house caught fire, if I'd had another heart attack, which I've had one before, we'd had to call an ambulance, there was no way we could do it. I had to do something to get a manager, somebody that would say, okay, we'll fix your phone, get you a phone. And so when I went in there and smacked their phone, they told me to go out and sit in the hall again on that same darn bench. And I said, I've been there, done that. No, I'm standing here until I get a manager.
So after you busted up their equipment, they said, would you have a seat in the lobby, please?
Right. Right. brilliant people.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and this is your husband.
That's my husband.
Did you know the plan when she said, let's take a ride, and got a hammer out of your...
Not exactly.
You didn't know she was going to go in there and bust up the house?
No, I thought she was going to maybe threaten somebody with it, but I didn't think she was going to start backing things
Which
up.
would be okay, right? You were down with that. You just didn't want to bust up the equipment?
Right.
Yeah. How are you at responding when she asks for something?
I've learned 2 words. Yes, dear.
Yeah. I think if I were you, I'd be spring-loaded out of the starter blocks in case she needed something. So you have a little pin on your sweater there.
My husband had that made for me for my 76th birthday.
Uh-huh.
It is a
gold hammer.
Gold hammer.
Michael Shames is the director of Utility Consumers Action Network, which protects consumers from utility abuse. Where are you, Michael?
Over here.
You don't recommend this particular approach.
No. Oh, Mona. You know, the funny thing is, you heard the audience reaction. Almost everyone is either gone through this or has had somebody go through something like this. So you're not alone. But there are people out there who, for a living, protect people like you who've gone through something like that. You have state agencies, local agencies, consumer advocacy groups, all who could have taken your case on, and not only wouldn't have cost you $2,500, I guess is what it cost you, but you could have actually had the company pay you for having gone through the inconvenience that you went through and the indignity you went through.
And Comcast did make a statement that I need to read. It said, "We apologize for any customer service issues that Ms. Shaw experienced, and we are working hard to increase customer satisfaction. We handle more than 300 million customer interactions a year, and our goal is to deliver a positive experience to every customer every time. There are thousands of employees working to reach this goal, and their safety is also of the utmost concern to us. We are making numerous improvements to help them better serve our customers, including giving our technicians new tools
they don't train their
that will help improve on-time reliability, and we are also enhancing our training programs." So you understand, I need to read. You don't seem moved by that statement.
Not a bit. Not an inch.
Tell me what you have here.
Some of the people in our church. And we want to present this to you.
Okay. It says brains and backbone. Brains and backbone, and on the back, have I got your attention now? Roland, thank you so much. Next, did he do the right thing? An average citizen who pulled a drunk driver off the road. We'll talk about that when we come back. Hold on. Yes,
A lot of people said, you could have been killed. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to live my life in fear. I'm going to do what's right.
You're under citizen's arrest, sir. Stay put.
I was a vigilante. I had to take the law into my own hands.
We're talking about vigilante justice. Is it right or wrong to get involved when you think nothing is being done? Now, my next guest, Matt, shot video of himself performing a citizen's arrest after pulling over a man he thought might have been a drunk driver.
You're under citizen's arrest, sir. Stay put.
I was a vigilante. I had to take the law into my own hands. So I'm just driving down the freeway, minding my own business, and then all the traffic starts slowing up. and I'm in a hurry, so I work my way to the front, and I see this car weaving, and there was just a lot of smoke and stuff coming off, and he was driving erratically.
Look at all that smoke up there. Crazy, blown out tires. They don't want to pull over.
No one was doing anything. They were just, Joe citizens all watching, waiting for something tragic to happen. I figured if someone's gonna act, it's gotta be me. So I just floor it, and I get up next to this guy, and I was like, you need to pull over. He was drunk or passed out. He was in and out of consciousness at the wheel. And then his car just smashes into my car. So I take my car and I start forcing him over to the side. I was scared. I was just saying, Lord Jesus, help me with this. I don't want to get killed here. I'm just trying to do the right thing and pull this guy over before he kills somebody else. That's when a truck in the forward pack of cars started slowing down away from his pack. We boxed him in and just made him pull over.
You can't even drive. You can't steer the car.
And he starts running away from us. He's trying to jump the fence, and I just grabbed him by the back of the collar and just threw him down the hill.
Now stay. We're not beating his ass, we're containing him. I said I would get up. No, you're not get up.
A lot of people said, you could have been killed. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to live my life in fear. And it doesn't take extraordinary people to do extraordinary things. It just takes someone stepping up and doing the right thing.
You're a health hazard to everybody.
I don't think he'll ever do that again now. He knows that citizens are roaming around out there ready to slam fools down.
There's no telling how many lives you saved in doing what you're doing. What made you decide to, because you've never done anything like this before, what made you decide to do that?
I had to do it. No one else was going to do it. So I said, if someone's going to do it, it's going to be me. So that's why I did it.
Next, what should you do when you see a drunk driver on the road? We're going to hear what experts have to say. We'll be right back.
I needed to let him know that I'm in control.
Oh, you thing!
You're going down, you know what I mean? This is how I roll. I needed to let him know that I'm in control and I'm physically superior to you, and you're gonna bow down to that. You're not getting away from this.
We're not beating his ass, we're containing him. I said I would get up. No, you're not getting up. You're going to stay right where you're at. Help me up. No, I will get up. I will get up. Help me up. You going to stay? Oh, stay?
I was like, this is over, son. You're going down. You're not getting away from me. You know what I mean? This is how I roll.
Now, the question I have, and Sergeant Mark Garrett is with the Los Angeles County Highway Patrol. He says he would never recommend a citizen pull over any car. You want to give a drunk driver plenty of space and call 911. Wouldn't you feel really bad if you had known, I knew this, I saw it unfolding, I saw it happening, and I sat idly by?
Well, you have to remember, too, that could happen even if you do try to effect an arrest. You could actually cause that person to cross the center divider. Right. You could actually cause an accident, and then how would a person feel?
Let me get this straight. A citizen's arrest is a legitimate thing recognized by the law where citizens can detain someone for behaving badly, behaving criminally, and detain them until law enforcement gets there or transport them directly to the nearest law enforcement agency. True?
That's true, that a citizen can make a physical arrest, detain that person until law enforcement arrives.
And when you do it, there is liability because you could be prosecuted for false arrest.
That's correct.
If there's nothing wrong or you've interceded, there is some liability, and you did have risk in this situation.
I did.
I think it's pretty clear this guy was drunk.
Very drunk.
He has been convicted, so it was a good bust.
It turned out okay.
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back. I want to give a big thank you to our affiliate, WCBS-TV, White Plains, New York, for providing the footage of the incident with Dr. Moody so we could talk about it. I don't think there's anybody here who wants to argue with Mona. I want to thank all of my guests today. For more information on how to fight for your rights without breaking the law, log on to drphil.com, and we're going to have it on there for utility commissions and anything else that we can run across. So you know, there are consumer advocate groups out there that speak with a collective voice, and sometimes they can be heard much clearer than just one faceless customer on the other end of the line. Thanks for being here today. So long.